Let's dive right into this explainer, guys, and tackle that completely universal feeling of a fresh payday quickly turning into a total financial mystery. We have absolutely all been there, right? You check your account, the number looks fantastic, and you tell yourself, okay, this month is going to be completely different. I'm going to be smart about it.
But, well, here's a fascinating and honestly slightly painful reality from the source material. 11 minutes. Yep, 11 minutes. That is exactly how long that payday high actually lasts before life happens. Rent comes due, the car payment hits, groceries need to be bought, gas tanks need to be filled, and suddenly you remember that friend's birthday dinner you absolutely cannot skip.
And just like that, boom, it's the 19th of the month. You're staring at your account, wondering where exactly your $2,800 went. And the worst part? It's the guilt, because you can't even explain it. It's not like you bought anything crazy or went on a wild shopping spree. You literally just lived. If this sounds familiar, the research we're looking at today emphasizes a massive, massive point. You are not irresponsible. The problem isn't necessarily that you spend too much. The problem is just that your money lacks a system. The invisible spending leak, the gap between mental math and reality. So without a system, money is always going to find a way out. The real problem isn't usually huge, reckless purchases. It's what the author Jack calls invisible spending. And it's almost impossible to solve with willpower alone, because, simply put, you cannot fight what you can't see. What's super fascinating here is how human psychology plays into this whole thing. Studies show that we actually underestimate our monthly spending by an average of 20 to 40%. Think about that for a second. If you earn $3,500 a month, you might be mentally budgeting $3,000 worth of expenses, but your actual spending is likely closer to $3,800. That invisible $800 gap, that is exactly where your paycheck disappears.
And that gap isn't made up of luxury vacations. It's dozens of small, seemingly insignificant choices. It's the $14 lunch because you didn't prep your food, the $8 parking because you were running late, that $23 Amazon delivery that was just so incredibly convenient, or the $11 app subscription you signed up for last March and totally forgot about. Individually, they feel like absolutely nothing, but together, they eat your paycheck alive.
Step 1. The 30-day money audit.
So before building a new system, you got to do something a bit uncomfortable but absolutely essential. You need to pull up every single bank and credit card transaction from your last 30 days and sort them into these 3 slices. First, fixed expenses, like rent and insurance. Second, variable necessities like groceries and utilities. And third, discretionary spending, which is basically everything else. Now, most people know those first 2 slices by heart, but it's that third slice, the discretionary spending, that always shocks people. Why? Because your brain doesn't register a $13 lunch as a major financial decision. It just registers it as a normal Tuesday. But when you add up all those Tuesdays, the number is usually double what you'd expect.
But the author makes a really crucial point here. The solution is not to stop spending on fun stuff forever. That approach always fails. Restriction without a plan just creates rebound spending. It's kind of like a strict diet. If you cut all the fun out completely, you'll feel deprived for 2 weeks, and then you'll just end up going on an emotional $300 weekend binge. We've all been there, right?
The core framework: capture, allocate, and protect. So instead of relying on daily exhausting willpower, we're going to build a structure, a system that makes the right financial behaviors completely automatic. Something that just works quietly in the background while you actually enjoy your life. This simple 3-part framework from the text is designed to do exactly that. We're going to capture, allocate, and protect. Let's break down exactly how this works.
Step 1 is capture. The second your paycheck hits your account, you need to move money before your brain even registers that it's there. This is that classic pay yourself first method, and it works flawlessly because of a simple psychological truth. We spend what we see. If your account shows $2,800, your brain treats $2,800 as available to spend. But if you automatically move $400 to savings and $300 to a bills account the millisecond you get paid, your brain now sees $2,100. It treats that smaller number as your spendable reality. Same income, completely different behavior.
Now, the crucial point is how we handle step 2. Allocate. Once your savings and fixed bills are captured, what's left over is your operating budget. But please, don't try to budget this down to the dollar for every tiny category. Actually, scratch that. Doing that works for about 4 days before the whole thing collapses. Instead, take your remaining operating budget, divide it by 4, and give yourself a simple weekly limit. If you've got $1,600 left, your weekly budget is $400. Every Monday, your week resets. Keeping it simple is literally the only thing that sticks long term.
Okay, so what about those irregular expenses that always seem to blow up our budgets? Things like car registration, the dentist, or holiday gifts. They feel like emergencies, but they are actually totally predictable. For these, just total up the yearly cost. Let's say it's $1,200. Divide that by 12, and automate a $100 monthly transfer into a totally separate planned expenses account. That way, when the car registration comes due, the money is just sitting there waiting. No panic, no mystery credit card debt. Finally, step 3 is protect. This might actually be the most important part, because let's face it, everyone has weak moments. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to design friction between you and bad decisions. First, delete those saved payment methods from your shopping apps. Impulse buying runs on convenience, right? Remove the convenience, and you break 80% of impulse purchases. Second, use the 24-hour rule for anything non-essential over $30. And third, I love this, it's genius. Set a low balance alert. If your account drops below $300, getting a ping creates awareness exactly when you need it. It interrupts that pattern of spending when you're tired or stressed.
Real results.
Chris's story.
Let's look at how this all builds into real-world results. The data highlights an average guy named Chris. He earns $3,200 a month, but every single month he watched it completely vanish without a clue as to why. When he did the 30-day audit, wow, the numbers were eye-opening. He was spending $540 a month eating out, not because he was living this life of luxury, but just because he was exhausted after work and hadn't planned his meals. He had $180 going to subscriptions, including 2 he completely forgot he even had. And another $200 was disappearing on random convenience items. That is $920 in total invisible spending. And this brilliantly illustrates the true power of the system. Chris didn't punish himself or cut everything to zero. He just set realistic targets. He reduced eating out to $250, canceled the forgotten subscriptions, and set a 24-hour rule for online shopping. Just adding that intentional friction immediately freed up $500 per month, and that went straight into his automatic savings transfer. Fast forward 6 months later, Chris had saved $3,000 for the very first time in his life. He didn't get a raise, he didn't magically make more money. He achieved this simply because his system changed. It's a real game changer.
Next steps, building your own plan.
So how do we make this your reality? The book suggests pulling up your last 30 days of spending, looking closely, and actually writing down your top 3 discretionary leaks. Because money without direction will always find the path of least resistance, and that path leads straight out of your bank account. As the author perfectly puts it, the paycheck was never the problem, it was always the plan. And well, now you actually have a plan. I want you to take action on this. Do that 30-day money audit right now. When you look at those numbers, what categories surprise you the most? Drop your biggest invisible spending leak into the comments below. Let's finally give that next paycheck somewhere to go, rather than just wondering where it went.